Hey everyone, welcome to our video about population growth. We're going to start off by talking about the different characteristics of a population. Those characteristics include the geographic distribution, the population density, the growth rate, and the age structure. Geographic distribution is the first characteristic we're going to talk about. And geographic distribution is the range or the area where an organism lives. If you take a look at this, you can see that geographic distribution could be very small, like in the case of this fungus on this apple. This is a very small, relatively small geographic distribution. It's only about the size of a quarter. Versus sometimes the geographic distribution can be very, very large. This is the geographic distribution here in yellow of one great white shark, Chartarodon chartarius. And as you can see, the geographic distribution of that great white shark is huge. It's hundreds and hundreds of miles. So geographic distribution, or the range or area where an organism lives, can be small or it can be large. Next characteristic is population density, and that's the number of individuals in a certain given area. You could see that sometimes there is a low population density, like here with the cacti. There are very few, relatively few cacti in that certain given area. There are not too many of them right there all together. Versus here, you can see wildebeest, and that's a very high population density. There are a lot of wildebeest in that one given area. So here we have a low population density, and here we have a high population density. Next up, it's the growth rate. This is how quickly can a population grow or decline. So this otter is sitting here looking, he's like, wow, there's a lot of sea otters over there. Now, in this population, there's a high population density, and it looks like there's probably a pretty high growth rate. And if there's a high growth rate, that means that a lot of organisms are either coming into that population by immigrating, or a lot of babies are being born. If there's a low growth rate, that means that there is possibility that that population is going to decline. Like there aren't too many being born, but a lot are being killed off by a predator. That would be a declining growth rate. So growth rates can go up, increasing population size, or growth rates can go down, which is decreasing population size. Last up, we have the age structure, which is a characteristic of a population. And the age structure means how many individuals from different age groups make up that population. This is just a small sample of population of humans in a certain area. And if you look at this population of humans, you can see that the age structure here is mostly teenagers and middle age, like, in their 30s type of people. There are very few elderly people, like the grandmother here, and there are very few young children. So the age structure here would be mostly teenagers and also adults. But in some populations, there are mostly older organisms and not as many young ones, or there's mostly young ones and not as many old ones. But that age structure and how many individuals of different age groups make up that population can determine a lot about what's going on in that population, especially if you think about like reproduction and overall survival. Thank you so much for listening.